Welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner. Today we have a great show for you guys out there today. I have Dominick Lombardozzi. You know him from a lot of top shows out there, The Irishman, The Wire, Oz, Bronx Tale, and currently Tulsa King. Thank you. I really appreciate you being on.
Thanks for having me.
I have my good friend Rob Forcelli, Contenders Boxing in Armonk, coach, trainer, fighter. I welcome you here, and I appreciate having you guys on
Motivator.
today. Motivator, yes. Motivator. Kind of put the connection with you and Dominic together. How is that come about? Where did that begin? And
back in 2017, Dom and I have a mutual friend, and his friend started training with me, and he told Dom about me, and ever since then we've been together. It's that simple.
What was your lure to boxing and to Rob?
I've always been fascinated with the boxing. Just, the purity of the sport, watching old fights, watching, some of those old Rocky Marciano fights,
right?
Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler and all those fights. I just I love the sport. Of course, Rocky.
Right.
And
were you a fighter growing up? Prior to Rob, did you
with boxing gloves?
Maybe
No.
in a street.
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
Maybe in a street, but not with boxing
now with
gloves.
boxing
yeah.
gloves.
Let me reframe that. Were you in a boxing gym growing up at all?
No, I had some kind of knowledge with
Right.
it, but nothing like when I was with Rob. I mean, it's fun. I'll give you a quick story. So we meet up with Rob, introduced by a friend of ours, Johnny, who we both love, and Rob is somebody who knows how to hold the mitts. He had the ring, and it's a whole different thing than going to a gym and just hitting the bag and being repetitive but when someone's holding the mitts, it's a whole different ball game. And I remember we would hit the mitts, hit the bag, go through the whole gambit, get in the ring, try to move around. And I remember I couldn't last more than a minute. I think it was like a minute 45
Yeah, it's
before then I started dancing around. But what brought me to it was just, got to get in shape, got to do something, kind of tired of going into the gym and
Right.
I'm going to do back and chest today,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Break up the monotony.
Way most people come. For 45 minutes to an hour, you get your workout in and you're pushing through it. But you did say Rob's a motivator. And I think when you go into a gym, no matter who you are, you got to have that person that's going to push you and take you out of your comfort level.
Completely.
I think it has to be a connection. So going in, what was your expectation of yourself? And, obviously, you played sports, right? Golfer, baseball, been around, athletics, lift. Now you're in a whole different realm.
My expectations come from like other things. More so like what I do for a living. But the boxing and working with Rob is more of just that break, that's to do something else, to like push yourself, kind of like punish myself a little bit, and just every now and then you just need something that humbles you.
Right.
And that's what I kind of get out of it, because I don't know everything about it. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly
We all are.
asking Rob, can you show me that again? Or if I do this, like, how do you I'm always asking him, even if we're dancing around the ring, I'll stop and I'll say, like, why would you do that? And just, it's the learning for me.
Yeah, that's, and even as coaches, and, Rob and I talk a lot, and Rob brings a lot to the table. Experience-wise, he fought in the Golden Gloves. He has a good way of working with his clients and his students. I've watched him, how he teaches and how he coaches, so I can see that. But on the learning aspect, we all are. Like, we'll bounce things off of each other and talk, and we'll learn from other coaches and see what we can better ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But, the push in boxing is to get out of that comfort level, I kind of feel. And especially when people are successful, like you're successful as an actor right now, your expectation when you come in, and this is everybody, that you should be here progressing. And it doesn't start out like that in boxing. I assimilate boxing with golf a little bit. It's a love-hate relationship. There are days that, I get up and I say, I'm not doing this no more. I don't want to coach no more. Then somebody walks in the gym or something happens and I'm back at it or something good. On a golf course, you hit one great shot, man, I could do this every day.
Right.
Then you have a bad day out there and you're breaking your clubs. It's like
It's also like with golf, it's that one shot that brings you back.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hit that great shot or that great chip shot or that great putt. I kind of think it's the same thing like when you're in the ring or you're boxing. You're like, man, I threw a really great combination. I threw that really great left, or my jab was really working today. And then you go on Saturday and the jab ain't working, the right's working, the hook ain't working,
everything,
the uppercut's working.
we
So it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, we had those conversations with Rob. It's like, you know what? Yeah, you walk out of there and you say, oh, man, I feel good today. I feel like I'm progressing. I could see a little progression. Your coach is giving you that good enforcement, and then you go in there and you get wiped one day, and it's like, what the heck happened? But then you come back. You come back again, and you come back again. But let's talk a little bit about, fighter's life may be similar. You started your career in Bronx Tale, but seemed to have like a little bit of a gap after that.
Yeah.
Now, we take a fighter who might come out, and Rob could attest to this. We bring him out, put him out there, gets a fight or two, but there might be a gap. How are you, at that point, working your craft and trying to keep your passion going to be an actor? And what are you doing at that point to...
During that gap?
Yeah, put it together mentally and,
Well, Bronx Tale kind of happened for me when I was 14, 15 years old.
Right.
Kind of a goof kind of thing. And I wound up getting it. And my mom made me join the union, and I've said that before, and I had my union card and all that. And then there was that gap until I did an independent movie called Kiss Me Guido, where, now mind you, during that gap, I was going in for calls, didn't have an agent, didn't have a manager, was never really institutionally trained as an actor. And
so you're doing this all on your own?
kind of.
No coach,
No,
no
nothing.
training,
No.
just got thrown into Bronx
They'll tell you
Tale.
I'm a little unorthodox.
Yeah, but that's...
I kind of do things a little differently.
But that's okay. That's the journey where I can see, like, I've seen fighters do that. Like, we have a fighter right now, it's 12-1. He just signed with Star Boxing, but up till his 11th win was with nobody, just a manager. Tough to move him along. Your career, similar in that sense, you're working and working to get to the point to where you are.
I kind of associated, remember that commercial with the Apex Tech School?
Yeah.
You learn the tool goes in the toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like what my career's been like. You going on an audition, or, you fall on your face, you pick yourself up, you brush yourself off, and you're like, okay, well, that's not what you do. So that opportunity goes out the window. I probably blew so many opportunities just because I was just teaching myself. So
how are you motivating yourself at this point? Now you're younger, I get it.
Passion.
But obviously, everybody, takes a little disappointment differently. You're coming back and, looking, what can I do? How do I do it better?
The thing was, I wasn't necessarily looking for it.
Right.
It's kind of like it found me in a weird way. I kept going through the motions, and then when I got Tony Vitale wrote and was directing the script. He was this location manager on A Bronx Tale, and I remember just doing these readings to raise money for this independent movie. And then he wound up giving me the role because I was never sure, because depending on who was going to jump on and who was going to finance the movie, who they wanted. And then while I was shooting that's really when I fell in love with the whole thing, the acting, the camaraderie, this person does that, this person does this. I kind of learned, and then when I did The Wire, that was like my college.
Right.
I was around all these actors, all these different type of actors for
So
5 seasons. So as a little kid, I always observed. I'm a very visual type of person. I see things, I try to emulate them. I do it with boxing. I did it with golf. I kind of like punish myself. I kind of like want to learn things my own way.
Right.
To the point where I'm like, okay, well now I could be, I don't want to say taught, but I could be instructed. But I kind of have to put both of my feet in the water first by myself. I have to want to do that.
Right. So, you mentioned golf, mentioned boxing. I kind of look at it's you out there. When you doing your role, you're doing your lines, it's you. There's nobody else out there. You prepare yourself. Maybe a coach will give you some work here and there, but you're out there by yourself.
Yeah.
Is that what really gets you going? Is that where you want to be, to say like, hey, this is me? Because you're gravitating to, outside golf and boxing. It's, to me, similar to your acting. It's you in control.
Completely. You always try to find a way to adapt.
Right.
Right? So the acting was me finding my niche, finding what works for me. What works for me, what my process is completely different from another actor's process. Just like you have 2 fighters of the same type of caliber, but they train differently, right? We've seen it 100 times. We've seen who runs in the morning, who runs at night, who only spars as opposed to hits mitts. I mean, I once read that Duran didn't even hit the bag. He sparred, right? I don't know.
Everybody's style is like what works. It works for them, right? We don't coach. Rob will tell you, we work with many different personalities, okay? Rob's not going to coach you like he might coach somebody else.
Completely, yeah. I've seen it.
And then
I can't hit him. I can't hit others like I hit him.
Yeah, you can't hit him either. But also it's that connection of personalities.
Yeah.
You're around people for a long time. You're coaching people, right? You have to find a way to connect. So people come and they say, oh, I want to train, I want to do this. First thing I say is, look, we got to have a connection. It don't matter. We got to have a connection. You got to trust me. You got to believe in me, and I got to believe in you. So we got to try to connect on a personal level so that in those moments, how can I push you past your limit? How can I take you when maybe it's not your day, or you're down, or, you're angry, or whatever it is that's going on that day? How can I get the most out of you at that point?
Well, for me, since we're talking about golf, boxing, and what I do for a living, I'll give you an example. If I start, say we go to a golf course, we're on the first tee. I really don't want to par that hole. I really don't. When I'm boxing with Rob and we're sparring, I even tell him, hit me. Do I not? Mm-hmm. Hit me. I don't want to. I need to. I kind of have to feel like I'm a little bit in trouble.
Before
Just
you
like I did in my career.
before you react.
Before I start calculating a game plan.
Before he gets going.
Right.
Yep.
I need to be in the negative.
How long did it take you to figure that out about him as a coach?
No, I knew from the first few months what I was dealing with him because he likes to be challenged, definitely beyond the limit. But he also likes to learn.
Right.
You know, so it's a constant education when it comes to him. But I could see that he really gets going being on the defensive, not on the offensive. So I knew that from when we first started sparring, you know, a few months into the beginnings of our training. So you know, but it's been a great ride, a lot of fun, and it never gets old because I'm always learning about him, and he's always learning more about me and from me, you know, and it builds that relationship not only inside the ring,
Right.
inside the studio, but outside because, you know, how can it not when you're on that type of connection, you know, and it's a special thing. So boxing overall, even though the level that we're on, even though we're taking punches and everything else, we're on the level of that. Amateurs are gone, pros are gone. You know, it's just really about fitness, about, you know, not only fitness, but mentally and physically, you know, being intact. And that's what boxing does for you. I mean,
Well, you know, knowing you and knowing your gym, Contenders Gym in Armonk, which is, you have to try it out. I mean, just look it up. Great workout, great coaching there. You have a diverse clientele.
yeah, very.
So, you know, you're managing personalities and training people. You know, you're training people who want to get in shape, who want to be the boxing experience. Okay, so you have to adapt and adjust
All day long.
Yes,
Yeah.
to who you have coming. You have women, business people, athletes, actors, you name it. You have a very diverse clientele there. So you're wearing a lot of different hats. Tell me a little bit about that when you're working. What's your preparation for that? How do you go about that? Do you change up with people, and I know you, so I know you're not changing too much, but you're diplomatic and you know how to work with people. You know how to speak to people. You definitely know how to motivate them.
Well, I think the greatest tool that, after all these years doing it, that I have is the motivation part of it. You know, as we always talk, you know, I'm always learning myself. You know, you can never stop learning every day, especially with fitness, with, you know, both the strength training, the boxing, everything. You can never stop learning. But I think the biggest gift I have for others is to get them to move forward when they don't feel they can do that themselves. And whether it's weight loss, whether it's, you know, whatever it is, mental, physical, both. And I don't ever stroke somebody, you know,
Right.
tell them they look great when they look awful. I don't do that. So the model stays the same. It's pretty much, Dave, you're going to come in, I'm going to get you to believe that you could actually do this. And through fitness, which and boxing, it's the greatest medicine. I mean, you if you commit, you are never going to regret that moment. And I did it with Dom, I did it with you, and I did it with thousands of others along the way, because everybody wants to be the best version of themselves. And you can do it through fitness and boxing. And that's the avenue that I tackled in this whole entire game. You know, it wasn't to find the best, you know, next heavyweight, you know, which I know that you have a bunch of them. That's a tough situation.
Yeah, that kind of fell in my lap. Your passion, you took your passion, you know, because you did compete. You fought in the New York City Golden Gloves. You were around a lot of top gyms, a lot of top fighters. You know the game. You took your passion and put it into a twofold. You took your passion for boxing and put it with fitness. And then you took your ability to connect with people and to really motivate them.
Being an athlete my whole life, when I got into the boxing, the sport of boxing, I was in the best shape of my life. Absolute best shape of my life. I did the work, like Dom was saying, you do the running, you do the training, you do the sparring, you do the conditioning. I did it all. And when I tell you I was as close to perfection, because there is no such thing as perfection, but I could go nonstop for 6 straight minutes and punch. And that was my greatest gift as a boxer. My offense was my best defense, and conditioning in an amateur world wins bouts.
Listen, I say in anything right now, okay, most sports, right? I'll take a guy who's going to be in shape. I'm going to take a guy like we talked about who's going to do his work, okay? The world doesn't have to know you're getting up at 4:30 in the morning to run. The world doesn't know how many hours you're putting in to train, And to flip back to you, Dominic, your career, when you're preparing for a role, you're doing it basically on your own. You got to follow your own routine. Somebody's not coming in there and time to get up.
No, nobody sees the work that you put on before they call action.
Right. So, obviously boxing, how do you prepare for
work?
For work. Whether it's going to the gym, whether it's golf, whether it's a role that you're taking,
It all varies. But getting comfortable with the material first, learning the material, knowing the material, and then knowing it to the point where I'll be able to play on the day, because you never know how the other person you're acting with is going to say these lines or what their intentions are. So I'm never really married to anything. I just want to, it's important for me to know the text, because somebody took a lot of time to write that. So I want to make sure that I know that. But memorizing lines and knowing lines are two different things. Knowing the lines is knowing the lines. They just come like walking. So if you get a curveball, you're able to keep the conversation going.
You're able to adjust.
You do your backstory on a character. You might have a favorite color.
Right.
Sometimes animals.
It's funny. Like, what he's talking about is very relatable to boxing.
100%.
The style makes the fight. You know what I mean? And as he comes in the gym and we box. If he throws a jab and I slip it, or I do this and do that, and he looks. How did that happen? Watching him read and know that stuff, because I've had the beautiful opportunity to do that with him. It's fascinating. It's almost like when I boxed a pro, I forgot his name.
We were actually talking about this the other day. We were in the ring, and I was catching a few of them. But the reason, and I'm talking to Rob, the bell rings, and then we're BSing, and I'm like, every round, I'm trying to work on something. He doesn't know what it is, whether it's throwing 2 jabs, trying to land 2 jabs, or trying to get that hook in there, or just more head movement, or try to work on this combination. But that's what my goal is. So when your mindset and you're just trying to work on one thing, you're not really boxing the guy. It's almost like playing golf, right? I could play you in golf, but who are you really playing against when you're playing golf? Who are you really playing against?
Play against yourself.
You against you.
And who are you really trying to beat?
Try to beat yourself.
Yeah.
You're trying to beat the course.
Yeah.
On the course, yeah.
Right? Same thing.
But, you know, you assimilate it like this, right? Boxing is two tanks. We both have the same arsenal. We both know what each other's going to do. Like, you and Rob are working together now.
Yeah.
So you guys know each other. Like, you're thick as thieves right now. You know what he's going to do. You got little tells. He knows what you're going to do. So you're thinking, all right, he already knows I'm going to do this. What can I do to change this up here? What can I do to get him out of position or get him out of guard for a second so I can land a punch, so I could be effective here? You know?
Well, the best thing Rob ever, you know, working with Rob in the ring is great, and it's punishment. But the best thing that Rob made me do was he was coming off his shoulder surgery, and he couldn't spar any of these guys for his main event. So it was a real learning curve for me going into the ring, and I was doing what, maybe 10, 12 rounds
each time. So
each time.
it's probably about 25 rounds.
You made
a
him
week.
designated sparring partner for
Yeah, I
that?
did. No, he made himself. He offered.
told
For
him.
Anthony?
He offered. For Anthony.
All of them.
For
Yeah.
Anthony, for Johnny, for Michael. So he was doing probably about 25 rounds a week.
So he had those small guys running around. He's doing 10 rounds.
So he had to.
Now, you got off
another
easy.
learning curve. Another learning curve.
Yeah.
He's 200 plus. Michael's 160.
Yep.
Anthony's Johnny's 175, 180.
Southpaw.
Southpaw.
Yeah, southpaw.
Like he had to learn. Okay, I look at him, Dom.
That's what
Got
I'm
to be
saying.
careful. You know, got to be careful because he hits very hard, very heavy-handed.
Yeah,
Like what
I've
you're
seen some of your work. Listen,
He's
I've
very
seen
heavy-handed,
He's 200
you know.
plus pounds, and even, you know, if he throws a wrong punch, it's going to
Yeah.
be with something behind it. But with you teaching him, I know he's not throwing too many wrong punches. But I've watched some of the clips of you guys working out, and he definitely
We were
moves
on
in
a
there.
roll at one point.
He
Yeah.
moves in there, you know.
moves well, but in this situation, he had to learn how to
Take him.
be more defensive when he's punching, not punch as hard. Because with me, I mean, he's still holding back, but the thing is, he could turn on them. Over there, these guys are either smaller or
Right.
not as experienced. So it was a great.
Well, I
3 months for
learned
him.
from him. I learned from him because for 2 years he was doing it with me. It was like if someone hits you or gets one in, you don't retaliate by beating the shit out of
Stay
them.
relaxed. That's it.
So there were rounds where Rob would instruct me. He would go, you know, just take it easy. You know, don't, you know, unfortunately take some. Right?
Taking a lot more than he was
I
given.
was
that's for
taking
sure.
a lot more than
We all-
you know,
we
my
all-
arms,
we all been there,
the side
Dominic.
of my arms, my side, they were
Yeah.
hurting. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
my point going to that was every time after 3 rounds and another guy came in for another 3 rounds, that first round was an adjustment.
Yeah. Adjustment.
Yeah, you got different styles.
Yep.
And
Who's swinging maniac? Who's heavy handed?
Yeah.
I mean, Rode, you know, Anthony when he would hit,
Yeah. Very
he was
strong.
swinging for the fences.
Yeah, he was strong.
yeah.
You know,
Well, they go into a defense mode. They don't know how to work just yet. They're still learning their craft. And he's throwing everything that he has at you. And now you got a guy in front of you and you're like, oh, I got to make a little bit of an adjustment here. You know, what is that going to be? And then as it gets deeper, you get fresh bodies coming at you, and you've been in there, you know?
And by no means am I a professional or anything like that, but I am probably who you're going to be fighting in there, right? You're going to be fighting probably a version of what I'm capable of doing. So I'm the good litmus test, right?
Yeah.
So tell him, slow it down. You got 3 minutes. You got 2 minutes. Well, 2 minutes. We were doing 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes here. Choose them wisely.
Yeah, don't shoot your load
So
right away.
It was a lot of that. So it's a lot of punishment on this end, you know. But so that was a real learning curve for me, was to making those adjustments, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Rob does this every day. He has to do this every day, whether he's holding mitts, different speeds, right? And
the mid end of it is, right? That's one
pounded. I
part.
remember you used to hurt his shoulders.
Yeah, so you get but you're right. I mean, going back to him, now, obviously, you have the Contenders main event series, which you put on in Armonk, in Mayapack, at Villa Barone. You do it in Armagh. You've been doing this for numerous years now. You provide people the opportunity to box.
That's right.
You give them any walk of life. We've had people that we've worked together with. And it's been a great event. Honestly, I've been all over in boxing. Other than Vegas, your event locally is probably one of the best run boxing shows out there to give somebody the experience. A lot of people, first of all, packed all the time. First class, in an arena where fighters can get the feeling of fighting, of what it's like to walk out on fight night. People yelling and screaming for you. You get that whole feeling of that. But you are sparring almost every day still when you're getting these guys ready.
The last one you did a lot. I couldn't even help him out. I felt so bad.
He did like 40 rounds with me, Dominic. You know, then I appreciate that.
I would have been there.
You know
I just
what I mean?
couldn't do it.
He was in there, and you know.
I know. I would talk to
you
him.
know how to work with people.
Yeah.
See, there's a difference. Even at the professional level, some guys, they don't know how to work. Some guys know how to work with people, especially when you're getting people ready for a fight. You know, you have to find that ebb and flow of getting that person ready for a fight, for an event. You can't come out too fast. You can't bang them up too early. They're going to get hurt. They're going to get down. You got to pick them up. You got to massage them through it. But you're still in there throwing. And, you know, he can bullshit everybody. He still throws. He still throws. You know, look, I'm 200-plus pounds. You're 200-plus pounds. That man can still throw over there. You know, he downplay it all he wants.
Yeah.
I'm a
You know,
cream puff,
and like
Dave.
you
Come
said,
on.
there's a
The
couple
two of
days.
you.
Days I walked in there and I'm like, man, I don't want to be here today.
Oh, come
I
on.
gotta go to work, man. This guy
I sparred him on too. This shoulder hurts.
So, but my point being is, when you get a guy like Rob, and I've been around different gyms, and I'm sure both of you guys have, and you see a lot of different people, and we watch and we learn, because I'm a watcher. I like to learn, and I like to sit back and I like to see what people are doing and say, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I like that, or, you know, put it into my little twist. But I sit back and watch a teacher like Rob work with people, and I find it like, yes, that's a good coach right there. He takes people with very limited experience, maybe some with no athletic experience, and he takes them from that gym to an event and puts them in for 3 rounds. And they get a great experience of it.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. I don't know if I should, but I will anyway because. So, there was a fighter who, and it's not a bad thing. It's just didn't know, kept tripping his feet. You know, when you go in the ring, you know your feet need to move a certain way so you stay balanced, right? And this particular person had trouble with that, which is a big problem if you're gonna go and you're gonna fight in the main event in front of 400 or 500 people. He took the time in a very short window to teach this person how to move. And when this person found out how to move and how their feet needed to move, how to dance in the ring,
Right.
made a world of a difference. But let's get back to the original question. How many people would have written that person off? Say, you know what, this is not for you.
Nope.
This is not for you. Maybe you need to do this a little longer before we could do this. No. Because what would that do? That would bring somebody's levels down, and it kind of contradicts what the whole thing is about.
No.
You know?
I totally agree.
And I really admire that. He took the time, didn't, you know, never wrote him off. You know?
You know,
Something to be said about
when
that.
I first
a lot
met-
of people would have just...
You're right. He has the patience, but Rob also has a little bit of a vision there that, you know, when I first met him and we kind of linked up with people for his show, and I want to see the people fight each other and bring them together. And I was like, okay. And I didn't understand at first what he was trying to get at, but he's trying to match two people together to give them a good experience. He sees like, okay, Dominic, I'm going to put you with so-and-so, and it's going to be a good match. You're going to have a good experience. You're going to be able to do your thing. That person's going to be able. And that takes time and nurturing. A lot of people.
And research.
Yes. And knowing people, knowing personalities. Like I see people do shows, they don't care.
He goes and looks at the other fighters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's not like, he's not taking it based on a phone call.
No.
You know?
And then we talk about this now. Like he's getting ready to do the next event in May, correct?
May 30th, yep.
In Armonk,
Yep,
correct?
right in Armonk.
He's already talking about, and we talk about, somebody the other day, and he was like, well, why don't we use this person? And he was like, yeah, that might work. Why don't we use this person? We try to make a good match there. But that is, for me, from a purist of boxing, to sit back and to watch people be able to train and say, I fought. I'm going to go back and tell my kids one day, your father fought 3 rounds, or your mother fought 3 rounds, or whatever it is. We can't do that with other sports. As good as a golfer you are, or as good as an athlete you are, you cannot walk onto another field. In boxing, we can. Boxing is a different level playing field, We can get you a professional card and fight one fight. Say, I fought a professional.
Is it because golf is a game?
I think there's more organization. With boxing, the organizations are all over. There's not one sanctioning body. In golf, you have the PGA. They put the whole rules and regulations together. These are the rules and regulations. You want to play professional golf, this is what you have to do. Okay? Boxing has so many different sanctioning bodies with so many different rules. And now we have influencers, different groups popping up that are starting organizations with it.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Being that this goes for both. Because you guys obviously been in the boxing game longer than I have, or you guys been around. Do you feel boxing has lost its purity? I mean, it's always been tarnished, right? Just because of different things. But has it lost its purity?
Since when? When are you talking?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, like when De La Hoya used to be around fighting, next guy in line, you fight. There wasn't no conversation about, and I happen to have had the opportunity to be friends with De La Hoya for a short period of time, and we would talk so much about this, but he'd fight anyone in line, here we go. Now it seems to be a lot different. The best are not fighting the best. There's so much crap that goes into even making a fight. It never was like that back then with him. He already knew after he won one fight, I'm going to be boxing this. My next fight is going to be this. I can't wait. He felt he was the best. If you feel you're the best, fight the best.
Yeah, I have a couple opinions on that, and I date myself because I'm a little older than you guys. So I go back to, Ali, Joe Frazier. When boxing, the only boxing you were able to see in those days was on Wide World of Sports, or if it was a closed circuit in a movie theater somewhere, or on radio. You know what I mean? So you had to wait till Saturday afternoon for the replay. I remember watching Ali Frazier. Later on, it started to change a little bit. I remember seeing Ali fight Ken Norton in Yankee Stadium. That was on mainstream TV. Purity of the sport is still there. It's just hard at the entry-level position to get there because money's moving the fighter. Okay? Instagram, you have all these platforms right now to put your stuff out there to get notoriety. But fighters have become smarter, where they're self-promoting. They're not going with a promotional company. They'll promote the event. Jake Paul has thrown a lot of money into boxing. Some people don't agree what he's doing, but I kind of like what he's doing because he's giving guys an opportunity that not necessarily would have an opportunity to be seen into box to get paid.
Yeah, but at the same time, I understand people's criticisms of him, right? But at the same time, there was no pushover in any of those fights.
No, he trains. He puts the work in.
Okay,
Yeah.
you want to know
Puts the work
something?
in,
One of our fighters was in camp
Yep.
for him, with him, right? I don't know Jake Paul. I haven't met him. I've watched him on TV, and from the aspect of what you just said, he don't have to go to the gym every day. Financially, he is stable. He
Correct.
does not have to go to the gym, okay? But that man is in the gym.
he
He's
trains
getting ready
hard.
to fight next month, okay?
That's what I mean. He puts in the work.
He's putting in the work.
Completely.
So that part, going back to what Rob said about De La Hoya, personally right now, and I go back to this, in every other sport, the best play the best, right? Baseball, golf, whatever it is, the playoffs, your ranking goes up. If you're ranked as a top 10 fighter right now, my opinion is if you're the champ, you're the champ. 10 other fighters' names go into a hat, we pull them out, and we fight off to get to the top. You lose, you go home. You win, you keep going. And we make the 10 best fight the 10 best. Like many years ago, there was Super 6 with Andre Ward won it. Look, I think personally, I want to know myself if I'm the best or I deserve to be here. I don't want to fight 20 guys that might not be on my level. I want to challenge myself. Like so you're talking about challenge yourself.
You mean the best on that day?
Best on that day.
The best on that day.
Best on that day.
That's the other thing with boxing, right? The best on that day.
You still got to come out and perform, right, Dominic?
Exactly.
Listen, we'll go back to golf, right? Because you have that relationship with golf, right? You can go out and shoot a 65, right?
They come back
And come back
73.
70 or 73, right? Or an 80.
We see it all the time.
So-
That's what I mean.
Okay, people, look, David Duvall was shot a 65. Was hot as a pistol many years ago.
Right.
Loved watching him play, right? He kind of tapered off. What happened, right? Now, other guys are coming on. But I think to be the best, you have to challenge yourself. You know,
Have to.
you gotta answer the question, you know, and this is what fighting does. We put fighters, as you're progressing them, do I deserve to be here? Not deserve to be here. Should I be here with you? So I go in, like you're talking about being out of your comfort level when Rob put you in with guys, you're seeing different looks. Now we take a fighter, okay, and we start him off, and then we start putting him in with better and better. We need to build his confidence level to say, man, I can hang here.
Yeah.
I could be here. It's like sort of like, okay,
crucial.
you're not taking a major acting role on your first role unless you're a phenom. You're the Jordan or the, you know, Derek Jeters of the world where you just do things naturally. You're building your craft, okay? So now they give you this. Oh, he's doing well. Let's give him a little bit something else. Let's give him something else. Yeah, he's reacting well. He's maturing. He's growing. It's the same with anything else. And that's where I think everything that I kind of talk about and what I like and the people I put myself around are navigating through where they can improve themselves and where they can adapt and overcome in their careers. Because we all have that moment of, you know, we're going to have ups and downs. How do you navigate? How does everybody navigate? And boxing, like you said, humbles us, and it helps us to navigate through that shit.
If you the real lessons that are learned from boxing, if they're learned correctly, in my opinion, are the lessons that you take with you inside and outside of the ring.
Correct. Yep.
Don't
No
apply those outside the ring. Your motives and your alternative, what you really, your goals were not pure. You might just be fighting for money. You might be that talented guy who can knock people out. You could be.
Those fall into play, Dominic.
Everything falls into play.
You know, there are guys out there. Let's talk about this.
And that goes for everything.
Rob and I talk like this, right? We're baseball guys, right? We go back that way. Win 20 games as a pitcher in the major league. Win 20 games, right? First of all, these guys are not going to pitch that much anymore. So,
Correct.
but every team will come to you and say, "You're a free agent. Fill the numbers in. Here you go. There's the check. They'll pay you out the door.
Right.
Win 20 wins in boxing. There are guys out there now making a living at 20
But
wins
that's
in
a
boxing.
now thing. That's a now thing. Now let me give you the flip side to that. You have Joe DiMaggio, highest paid baseball player during the time. I think he was making over $100,000 a year, right? Huge.
Right.
Huge contract. Right? Towards the end of his career, still making that money. Reporter goes into the locker room, sees him getting all bandaged up everywhere. Like, it's always like, why did you, he's taking everything off. Why did you stretch that single for a double? He goes, because there might have been somebody out here who never saw me play before. So it's not about the money. It's about the individual. It's about what you bring to the game, what you feel. You can lose yourself along the way, and then hopefully at the end you recapture yourself and you bring it back to what it's supposed to be. And sometimes that happens, sometimes that doesn't happen. That happens in my business.
Right.
It's like at the end of your career, let me do this, let me do that, 20 million, yeah, okay,
Right.
okay. Me, I would like to model my career after Paul Newman. When it's over,
Right.
it's over.
Yeah,
I don't want the plastic surgery. I want you to see what my life on my face.
Right.
And then when you got to call it quits, you call it quits. When you feel like you can't do no more, then you got to walk away. That's what I mean about the purity. That's 20 years after your career is over. You want to be able to look at it and not like, what did I do with myself? You're not going to remember your first movie. You're going to remember your last one. And that's the one that needs to count. Yeah. Just like your last fight, your last round, you want to know you gave it your all, And if that's instilled during the beginning, the middle, hopefully it'll carry over to the end.
Yeah, that comes with
And
your
that's
DNA,
where guys like
your
he comes
coaching,
into play.
Yeah, the people around you.
Correct.
Your family life, the base look, we keep going back. Boxing's a base, fundamental. There's certain things.
There's so many things to be learned.
Golf is fundamental. You just don't walk out there, pick up a club, boom. There's fundamentals. There's etiquette. There's so many different little nuances going on in there that carry over, that spill over into your real life, of how you carry yourself and how you should. How you should be. Or like you said, how am I going to finish? What do I want people to see me as at the end? Or during the ride? My point to the money end of it is that the purity, going back to your purity question, these guys to get to 20 wins is such a struggle for them. There is purity because they're maintaining that struggle. Okay?
Right.
They're not seeing the big money that some of these athletes are seeing very quickly. They have to persevere. If you fight 5 times a year, which is a lot, it takes you 4 years to win 20 fights. Average, you're going to fight 4, maybe 4 or 5, depending on what weight class you are, where you're at, promoters, and everything falling into place for you. That's barring no injuries, no lapses, no COVID, no nothing. That's a commitment. That's a commitment of.
It's a sacrifice.
And then sacrifice, right? So your support group has got to be, we got fighters that work. I'm sure in the beginning of your career, and I don't want to say personally, I'm sure you had to work somewhere, or your family was able to help you and give you that, support and that emotional support to say, hey, you're on the right track. Keep doing what you're doing. We're here for you. But I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I did everything from working in a mailroom to asphalt to concrete to selling cars to waiting tables, but the support system was always there. It was never, maybe this isn't for you.
Right.
My family never did that.
And that's
Why don't
important.
you go get a real job? I never got that,
Yeah. See, and look, I know Rob, this is all Rob does. I don't train on a full-time basis. eventually one day. But, you know, I have that love-hate. Like, there are days I don't want to go to the gym or work with people. They're just,
yeah.
but then there's that one spark that gets me, and I'm back in the gym. And I'm in the gym 7 days a week pretty much, you know, and, you know, it's just that passion to be there. And I've had good support and good people around us, you know, to really, you know, like yourself and, you know.
Rob creates this safe environment, right? So you walk in there, you know you're safe, but ultimately it's really up to you how much you really want to be tested. He's not going to test you beyond what your capabilities are, because it's not productive. You're going to get hurt, then you don't come back, then you get discouraged, and, you know, it's kind of like he's kind of a master at that.
Yeah, we manage personalities, and that's
I've always said
that's the thing. You gotta, and look, we're doing it to give everybody a good experience, you know. And we had a conversation about, you know, fighters going in and out of gyms without help or without a coach, and, you know, that doesn't always work out good. But, you know, you walk into Rob's gym, you don't know who you're standing next to. You can be standing next to a school teacher. Yeah, you don't know who. You know, and that's in pretty much any boxing gym. But we're all equal when we get in that gym.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing about boxing, the sport about boxing. You're mixing a bunch of people in the same place. And, you know, most of the people that you will meet in this sport are very down-to-earth, genuine, come from, you know, blue-collar roots to get where they are. And we go back to those stories. I mean, Rob knows a little bit about my fighters, and they have some stories, you know, to where they get to, the trials and tribulations of how we got there. You know what I mean?
None of them were easy.
No. I mean,
Not at all.
I have one fighter right now, Vincenzo Carrita, 30 wins, 29 knockouts, has done everything on his own.
And if you see him train in the gym, it's like
I was supposed to come that day, and I wasn't able to come. Did he come to the gym?
No, that was Giuseppe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this kid, where he trains, it's like his last day on earth.
Yeah.
That's how hard this guy trains in the gym.
And he's a court officer in Boston.
Yeah, Vinnie is very
drives 3.5 hours
very
to train
intense.
here. He's very quiet kid, very, very focused, very cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight, yep.
Cruiserweight.
Very, very, very intense.
Cruiserweight.
200 or under. So I think it's
Was
200.
Holyfield a cruiserweight?
Yeah.
Cruiserweight. He was cruiserweight before he went to heavyweight.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The Olympic team, he was a cruiserweight.
He was, yeah.
Yes. He was a cruiserweight.
Did Roy Jones go up to cruiserweight?
Went to heavyweight.
Yeah, but also cruiserweight.
He went
didn't
through all
fight
the
as a
different.
cruiserweight?
He was light heavy, right to heavy, or light heavy, cruiserweight heavy?
I think.
Light heavy.
He was
He
light heavy.
fought at cruiser. Then he went to heavy, fought Ruiz. I was actually had a
I
fighter on
remember
that card.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're new. Remember Elvia Marique?
Yeah, the name, yeah.
Okay.
I know the name.
Fought out of the Bronx.
Yes.
Trainer I was working with Elvia, was on that card. Jones Ruiz in the Garden. We were supposed to fight before Jones Ruiz. 2 fights earlier, it was on HBO. The fights went quick, so we were put on the swing bout. Elvira, I think he had close to 30 wins. Fought Tarver. He had some.
I sparred him. Yeah.
Tough fighter, good fighter, good
Yeah.
local fighter. He ends up fighting the swing bout, 1 o'clock in the morning. They were sweeping it up after the fight. And he had no legs left. It was just up and down throughout the fight. But I watched that fight, and Jones just laid on Ruiz. Ruiz was just on the ropes and just, nah.
Talk about that level. Elvira, that guy, unbelievable.
Yes, he was a good fighter.
Unbelievable. He made my punches look like they were in slow motion.
Yeah.
Slip,
Yeah.
move, and he'd laugh. I go, God damn it. I thought I was good. And that's when you know how boxing humbles you. And I really did. I thought I was well-conditioned and good until you go into a couple levels up. You realize.
But that's the homework, right?
That's the beauty.
That's the homework, because you take let's even go further back. You had a fighter like, let's take Rocky Marciano, for example. He knew he couldn't do that. He knew he couldn't slip those punches. He knew he couldn't
Yep.
do that. So
He relied on his
his
conditioning.
right. I will outwork you.
Yep.
I will punch.
And he could punch.
I will punch from every angle
Yep.
as hard as I possibly can for 3 straight minutes.
He was always in great condition. He was able to stay close. His hands were ginormous, okay, and he punched hard.
Really hard.
I've seen film. I've never seen, it was way before me.
I've heard testimony from I think one of them says I felt like I got hit by a library of books.
Yeah, he hit you, and so look at him and Ali. What would they be worth today as athletes in today's generation? Now, you're talking about guys that, blue collar guys. Marciano family didn't want him to box. Was actually a very good baseball player, believe it or not.
Yeah, good athlete.
Was a good athlete. Worked in the shoe factory. Hid boxing from his family for a long time.
And didn't get his shot on 30 fights?
Yeah, late.
Was it 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure in those early fights he wasn't making a lot of money. And I'm sure back at the end of his career he made a good payday after that, and he was able to set himself up.
Floyd Patterson was after Rocky.
Yeah.
Marciano, the 60s.
Yeah, I believe late 50s, early 60s.
That was one of Cuss's.
Yep.
One of Cuss's fighters, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Fighting out of New York.
Yeah.
His son, they have a gym in upstate New York, Tracy Patterson.
Yep.
But, these guys,
The styles always get me. I'm always fascinated with the styles. Like, you got the Philly, you got the peekaboo, the sweet signs,
the styles of it, look.
I love that.
You know what it is? It's like,
I love that.
let's take Tyson. We talk about styles, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's commanded that style. Nobody, have you seen anybody in boxing, Rob?
Because there's not a heavyweight that's as small as him.
No.
And
But
that style works well for a shorter fighter.
Yeah.
You can't be a tall guy.
But that's what Cuss saw in Tyson. He took that.
Yes.
Where a lot of trainers and everything,
And Floyd.
this is the style that Floyd's on a whole nother level.
No. Floyd Patterson,
Floyd Patterson.
was a small heavyweight.
Yes.
So the peekaboo was a way of throwing that jab in order to get in so he could work the body. But
Yes.
you
And
couldn't
then
you couldn't be Larry Holmes and do that. Larry Holmes was big, kept you away with the jab, right?
Well,
So-
Larry, you remember Larry Holmes was Muhammad Ali's sparring
An
partner.
underrated fighter, in my opinion.
Best jab. I honestly,
Larry Holmes.
In my opinion,
Yes.
he gets overshadowed a lot.
Yes.
But pound for pound, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
look at Larry Holmes was a great boxer.
Yep.
one of the best
Great
jabs in
heavyweight.
boxing.
Yep.
One of the best jabs in boxing till this day. I agree with you 100% there. Definitely overlooked heavyweight. Maybe because of he was a very humble, quiet guy, but yeah, he could box.
Yeah.
He put a boxing show on for you. I was not an Ali fan growing up. I was a Joe Frazier fan.
So
I was a Joe Frazier. He was more but as I've become older and watch Ali was ahead of his time.
yes, and Ali was one of those fighters that was able to fight going backwards.
Yeah.
A lot of fighters weren't able to fight going backwards.
He was his
it was
hands.
sad that he had to take that punishment.
You ever
though.
see Tyson go backwards?
I don't see any fighters go backwards.
You ever see Tyson go backwards?
I think when he had Holyfield's ear in his mouth, he went backwards.
I see Floyd Mayweather fight going backwards.
Yeah. He's
Bernard Hopkins kind of did it.
Tyson.
Well, Hopkins style,
Defensive.
Hopkins style. I call Bernard Hopkins your career killer, because if you remember when he started to make his second run, he was whipping on people.
Yeah.
He'd taking people out. Why you want to fight Bernard Hopkins? He's just gonna make you look bad, okay? Because he's so slick in that ring, and you're gonna have a tough fight. You know what I mean? So his style was definitely that. Floyd Mayweather, people hate on him, but he's got
very skilled.
he's got a high ring IQ.
Yeah.
He one thing I like about Floyd, another guy, right? Don't got to get out of bed. He was making money at the end of his career. Don't got to get out of bed. He's got everything he needs. Do whatever he wants. Get on the phone, 2 o'clock in the morning. Open the gym. We're training. I'm running. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. He trained. He trained.
Yeah.
He trained for. He did not take it. And even now, he's doing these little exhibitions. He's still dangerous. He's still dangerous.
He'll always be dangerous.
You know what I mean? But
He'll always, Tyson is still dangerous.
Yeah.
he is.
Tyson is still dangerous.
And he's in. You know what? I think Tyson is more dangerous because he's mentally knows how to.
You talk
control
about
his-
IQ.
Yes.
Yeah.
Plus his experience and his ring IQ now, he will take you apart. He'll take you apart. But what about you in one of the Contenders events?
I'm too hurt.
Am I putting you on the spot there?
No,
man.
I mean,
I think about it every damn day when we're punching.
Let me ask you a
sparring.
question, though.
Oh,
Forget
man.
about being hurt.
Oh,
Is
No.
it if you weren't, would it be something you want to do? And not because Rob is sitting here.
no, absolutely.
Well, you know,
Just like-
Absolutely, it's just-
we'll take Rob out of the equation. He's not even promoting it.
it's
Would it
fu-
be something you want to do for yourself?
If I wasn't, I think if there's a few reasons why I would and why I wouldn't. One of the main reasons is just I just have a lot of injuries. I just have,
Right.
not just the one from he'll tell I train every day.
Yeah.
Every time I train hurt. You know? And because of my profession, there's a lot that comes with it, and then I don't want to
Right.
have, like, let's say boxing and I get hurt the first round. I got to live with everything.
Right. Those are responsible decisions.
Yeah.
Take that off the table. What'd you do?
Hands down.
I figured that.
Hands down.
I figured that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, if I was...
I know there's a lot of ramifications right now with professions and what's right, and you definitely got to take care of yourself because of the way you're making your living. You cannot.
But I would do it.
But mind you, Dom's a huge supporter of all the events. He's at every
he's
one
at-
of them.
yeah.
He supports all of them.
Listen,
Big fan.
you made
of
him sparring partner.
what's going on? Yeah. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that. You know, he comes in there, and
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people know him, and you know, Dom is. He's not his profession. I've been around. What I mean
Right.
by that is Dom is. Here he is. This is what you see is what you get.
And that's
So, you know, and people know that. And once again, safe environment. He comes there and he has a great time over there. And
I
he
always have a
supports the
great
event,
time.
you know.
yeah, it's definitely a great environment, and we look forward to the next one. If you weren't acting, what would you do?
There's a lot of avenues he can do. I mean, he's amazing mason, carpenter. I mean,
I'm learning. I'm learning that. I like
Right.
to do stuff with my hands, but my uncle, he's the mason.
Right.
My father was an auto body guy, very blue collar family.
But once again,
so
he's
I'm
a
sure it would have
visual.
been something with my hands. But I think
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been a fireman, something like that, or if I think about, I don't know, it would have to be something outdoors, something creative. Nothing that every day was the same kind of thing. So I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
it's
What are you looking to do to finish out your career? What are some of the things goals for yourself that you're
I don't
thinking
know,
about?
I still think there's I like to think there's my raging bull out there. Not to say a boxing movie, but that movie for me.
Right.
You know, hopefully one day that'll come. But you know, accepted the fact that it's just, you know, I'm a journeyman. You know,
Right.
so if I could do this till I'm 80, I'll do it till I'm 80. If I still love it and doing stuff that I could be happy with, I'll be doing it till I'm 80. If I want to stop it tomorrow, I'll stop it tomorrow and just go do something else.
Right. What's your decision process when something comes across your table? You know, somebody hands you something, say, hey, Dominic, you know, we'd like you to look at this. We want you to be a part. How do you decipher
See, this
through
is the
that?
biggest misconception.
Or do
that
you?
happens. That happens every now and then. You have a person who thinks outside the box, and they know your work.
Right.
They've done their homework, and it's you that they want.
Right.
But I still have to sing and dance for my food.
Right.
I still have to be tested. I still have to sell myself. I still have to.
All day.
Just I'm not at that state. I'm not here. I'm not there. I'm kind of in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I kind of related to being like the middle class of the acting business. You know, it's like the middle class of this country is what really drives this country.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you know, those are the wheels that are spinning.
But make no bones about it. Everything that's walked through the door in the last 7 years that I know Dom,
Yeah.
I got to do this. He gets because his reputation, like ours, you know, I show up, he shows up. He shows up. He knows the character very well. And there's a few that he got called on in less than a month. Oh, we got the guy. That's you develop a reputation, you know.
You're taking a
and
fight on
people
5
remember.
weeks' notice. Yeah.
Here's my thing. I have no qualms about going to the set and messing up. Just like a fighter probably has no problem taking those punches the first 2 rounds just to size the other guy up and to see what that game plan is, right? The problem is going to work fully aware of knowing that I didn't prepare. That will bother me. Saying, hey, you know what? I know these lines. I don't have to look at them. And then go to work and then start stumbling. And that would rent a lot of space in my head. But if I know I did the homework and it's just a bad day, I could accept that. Auditioning, prepare, put yourself on tape, or you read with somebody, or you do something and you don't get it. I started my career in 1993. It still bothers me when I don't get a part.
That happens when you're passionate to your craft. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
You know, it happens in the gym too.
Listen,
you know, same thing.
Nobody likes to lose. I don't like taking losses.
And they don't tell you why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to come back and say, look, somebody's, we lost. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And I don't, very rarely do I ever get an explanation
Right.
as to why I didn't get it, which even eats at me more. So it's kind of like, well, shit, how am I supposed to better myself so that doesn't happen
right.
again? You don't know.
Yeah, what did I do?
They're not offering information saying, you know what, that third scene was this could have been faster, that, or you should have wore a red shirt instead of a blue shirt. You don't know, so it adds to it. But even till today, I know actors who just brush it off.
Yeah.
That's the way they work and they operate. They're able to say, okay, that's over, on to the next. I do that, but I have a little bit of a lag.
You're carrying it with you till it starts.
Yeah, I take it very.
And I think that goes back to your Joe DiMaggio story. Like, look, you know what?
Could have been Mickey Mantle,
Man,
but I'm pretty sure it was Joe.
Mantle might have been at the Copa, so they were interviewing him over there. So, but
Or Toots Short.
Yeah, with Toots Short. Yeah, but you know what? You got to give. It's in your DNA. Certain things are in your DNA, and that's how you are. We go back to the improvement. How are you going to get better if somebody doesn't give you a little criticism, a little roadmap? You know what I mean? If you don't do your homework, if you don't have the map, how are you going to get better? You don't know where you're going. You don't know what corrections to make. It's like, you know what? Years ago, boxing, no tape. We have tape. I could watch tape all day long. I could pull fights off the internet. If you fought somebody, I could sit and watch and make. Okay, slow it down, speed it up, watch, bump, look.
That's part of the training regimen, isn't it? Doing
Yes.
tape, looking at tape.
So, like you said, you're like, acting, everybody thinks boxing's a luxurious lifestyle, right? Everything. You know, you get up we had, for Joey's camp, 8 weeks. He lived with me. He was 2 weeks in Costa Rica prior to coming to me. Come day in and day out, you're living with somebody. You live, eat, and sleep it. Okay, you get up in the morning, you do your running, eat, back, rest, conditioning, recovery, whatever it is, boxing at night, sparring, on the road, moving, up until the fight, over and over and over and over and again. Nobody sees that. Nobody sees if you get up at 4:30 in the morning to drive to New York or whatever to read your lines, or you're up at 4:30 in the morning doing your routine with Rob or whatever your routine is.
No, we were talking about
You know,
this.
everybody sees the end product.
No, I know.
They see like, oh man, how did he? Nobody knows. Nobody knows that maybe in between roles that you're finagling. Okay, oh man, I don't have anything coming in. Like you said, you work different jobs.
Feast or famine.
They don't see that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what drives people to be better.
Well, here's the thing too. They know about the role that you get, that they watched on TV and they see.
Right.
They don't know about the 10 other ones that you didn't get.
Yeah, they don't know that, and they don't know what you had to do.
Because there are 10 other ones.
They don't know what you had to do
guarantee
to get to that role, to get there.
Yeah.
Okay, you had to bring your A game. You got the role. You did your preparation, read your lines, whatever it is that you do to get ready. Now, besides that preparation,
here's the difference. The difference, right? So with boxing, is you have a fighter here, you have a fighter here, you have 5 fighters here, right? And they box each other. And then these 2 fighters fight each other, right? Let's just say that that's what it is. Clearly, there's a winner and a loser,
right,
based on who performed that particular day, correct? With me, it's I could have an audition and I could be the least person who was in tune with that character. And it could have been 3 other actors who kind of just nailed it.
Yeah.
What winds up happening is I might be a better look with the rest of the people who they might have casted. Or I might be the one who kind of, I may look a little too much like this guy that they hired for the number 2 slot. And me playing the 6 banana, it doesn't work. There are a lot of variables like that. With boxing, with sports, it's who hits that ball. But then sometimes it's, okay, yeah, he could hit that 103-mile-an-hour fastball, but do we want him on the team?
If he's not a fit.
Will he poison this team? Will he be a virus? And we know a lot of great individual athletes who, when they went on a team,
they're cancer. They're cancer. And that goes into boxing, too. When you take a fighter, who that fighter has around them.
And that comes with popularity.
Besides, Rob and I talk about this all the time. We just stay in our lane. Okay?
You could have that's all you could do.
I might be training Rob, and I'm the head trainer. I might be training you, and Rob's the head trainer. Okay? My job is still the same job. Okay? Stay in my lane. Support him. Support you. Boxing gets twisted. It gets twisted. For me, it's got to be that fit. And I like to be close to my fighters because I feel that if you're around them, especially if you're in the car with them, that's when you get to know people. People open up. You're in a car ride. You start to, it's very casual. You get to know each other. And then you start to find out your little
But you know what else I noticed in boxing? And I could be wrong. I don't know because you guys watch it and know a lot more about it than me. But you don't have that Ali Dundee, that relationship. That was his trainer, right?
Angelo Dundee.
Right. Okay. Most of his career, correct?
Whole career.
Okay. You don't see that now.
Loyalty.
But why? What happens is when the fighter loses 2-3 fights, is he blaming the trainer as opposed to blaming himself?
There could be times that it does. There are times I've seen fighters blame trainers. Deontay Wilder had Mark Breland. Breland throws in the towel. Okay, after that, they change. Breland's done. They bring somebody else in. They didn't agree with that decision. but I think it goes back to loyalty and connection and trust. You know, Dundee stood there with Ali through thick and thin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's easy. It's easy for us to stand when you're at the top of your game. Hey, patting you on the back. Hey, man, you're doing great. But what happens when shit goes bad? You know, if I'm with you, I'm with you. I'm in for a penny. I'm in for a pound.
You ever see Canelo's trainer?
Been with them. Rayoso's been there.
You ever see the beginnings? See him, small, young guy, still the same trainer.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
That's
what
why
I mean.
Love it. It exists.
I think that's something
but not
that's
as much
really
as you
talked about that much.
Yeah.
And
It definitely still exists, but it's not as much, no doubt. Yep.
You know, and then, you know, you don't know what that back connection is when they're training in camp or when they have preparation for the fight. Some guys don't connect. Freddie Roach, great trainer, okay? But Freddie Roach coming in for the fight most of the time. You know, he's coming in for fight night, you know. Mm-hmm. He's not training everybody through 10 weeks of camp all across the board.
Except maybe Manny?
Yeah, Manny. But Manny, for the last fight, had his buddy in there.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, but...
Is that because of Freddie's medical condition?
I don't know. I don't know. But I also know there's a lot of money involved with Dominic. You know, you're fighting a $20 million fight, say. Your corner's getting 15%. Okay, if they're not on salary, depending on who you are. But just say, you're getting 15%. Now, the fighter's got to pay 15% there. If he's not promoting the fight, he's got to pay a promotional company. If he has a manager's taking a piece of him. So there's a lot of money being thrown out across the board.
Yeah.
You know, and some of these guys, you know, I get it. They're the show, but, you know, and some of them are insecure where you want to change. I don't know. I can get it if you're not evolving. If you're not evolving with the person that you're with as a trainer and you're kind of stagnant and your career kind of flatlines a little bit, I understand. Make a change. But I also, as a coach, I kind of think that you have to be true to yourself.
To say you
Right.
need to go with somebody else
So
because I taken you where I could take you.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I say this to guys, right? Listen, if a Freddie Roach, you know, Mayweather's father, you know, Canelo's trainer, these are top trainers. These are the best guys in the business, right? If I got a fighter and, you know, they show an interest in, and I'm driving my fighter to the airport, bro, go.
Yeah.
I've done what I can with you. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You got to go to that world over there and see what it is because you could always come back here.
Mm-hmm.
You could always come back here, but you got to answer that question for yourself. It's your career.
Yeah. Makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we'll kind of wrap it up. I got a couple of quick questions for both you guys.
Okay.
All right? You go first, Dominic. You were in a foxhole. Who you choosing?
Dead or alive?
Whoever you want. Dead or alive.
My father.
Okay.
Man, yeah, you know, yeah.
Robert?
If I was in a foxhole,
That's what I'm saying. The person that, I mean,
You could pick anybody.
So I would probably alive my brother, and dead my father.
Same for me.
Yeah.
Same for me.
You know?
You get 3 dinner guests, dead or alive. Dead or alive. Doesn't matter. Who are you picking? You get to choose.
God would be nice, but
Yeah? Rob's already thinking. All right, see, it's good to go. We put you on the spot first.
I'm gonna pick just from the arts. I would probably Einstein.
Okay.
I don't know, Al Capone, just for shits
Yeah.
and giggles.
Yeah. You played his brother.
I did. I'm just trying to think of all different type.
But you wouldn't have
Walks
known
of
that
life.
because he was so makeup.
Yeah.
Huh?
And Mother Teresa.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Robert.
I would have to stay true to that question, and it would be the 3 motivators of my life that made me help, everybody for 32 years, and that's my father and the 2 coaches and they're all dead. So it was Joe Eshu, Michael DeSola, and my father. 3 amazing motivators that never, ever told you that you couldn't do it. And my training style came from them with love, not with that hard knocks,
Right.
get in your face if you're doing something wrong. I always believed, show the care, show the love, show that we're a team here, get that person to believe in themselves, and those are the 3 people I wish I could have dinner with right now.
There's time to hug them, and there's a time to kiss them and kick them in the ass.
Yep.
So we know Contenders Gym, next show is
May 30th.
May 30th.
Yep.
Tell us a little about that real quick to close. Armonk.
Yep, in Armonk. Rented out St. Pat's Church. It's right near, it's right down the street from, right from Modern Barn. A lot of people know that landmark. May 30th. A lot of people that have participated already are coming back. A lot of new people.
What event is this for you guys now?
This is going to be main event 16.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. I try to hold one a year. And when my daughter was born, I took a break. So there's the lapse in the 25 years, because this year is Contenders' 25-year anniversary.
Right.
So
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Doing a great job over there.
But when she was born, we shut it down for a little bit because I wanted to be an active father.
25 years.
Yeah, it'll be. On the shirts, it'll say celebrating 25 years of excellence.
And
25 years of punching.
Yeah.
There's not a day.
He's not slowing down.
No, he ain't.
And I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag on this one, Dominic, of something we talked about. Yeah. I'm sure you're privy to that little inside information. Yeah. As we get closer to the event, we'll talk a little bit about that with you. And for you, obviously, what do you got coming up? Are you able to talk about that? Are we going to see Tulsa King again? Or
I think we will see Tulsa King again. I think they're writing it and they're coming up with some story points and stuff like that. But there is a season 2 supposed to come out. They just because there was a big delay because of the strike.
Right.
But out right now, I think Reacher did Reacher, and then the strike hit and it put everything on pause.
Right. So everybody's
Other than that,
regrouping right
just doing my own little stuff at home and
training with Rob.
Well, getting hurt.
I really want to thank both of you guys for coming on, taking the time out. It means a lot to me.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see Rob on the next Contender Series.
Yeah.
All right?
Thank you,
You're
Dave.
looking for Dominick Lombardozzi coming out right now on Reaper and stuff coming out. Hopefully we'll see Tulsa King soon. Look for our episode on Sunday night, our number 2. And look for us again on Coach's Corner. Thank you.